And that's incredible, thinking that this movie made almost $500 million and still isn't considered successful for Disney. This has all been confirmed, that Disney was literally lying to its own shareholders and its own employees. They have the actresses of Snow White doing a death tour and trying to destroy the movie, but in particular this Rachel Zegler. Take a look at some of the things that Rachel Zegler has said about this movie.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
Check out our link in the description below for the Daily Grace Company for some incredible Bible study tools. Howdy, y'all. I'm Brylan. You know, it's absolutely incredible to sit back and watch one of the most powerful companies in the entire world absolutely 100% destroy itself, all in an effort to try to appease a group of people that are unappeasable. It's impossible. Check out Romans chapter 1 where it talks about the depravity of man real quick. Then we'll jump into the story. Starting in verse 28, and since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind. This means an unfit mind. And they are doing what they ought not to do. They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice. They are full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, and maliciousness. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, and check this part out, inventors of evil. Do you see these depraved, faithless, heartless, foolish people? Those aren't my words. If you keep reading, you see all those things right here. These people are unappeasable in their sin. They continually invent ways of doing evil because the current evil that they are doing isn't evil enough for them and it's not appeasing their flesh anymore. And so they have to invent new things that are more radical, more depraved, more disgusting in order to satisfy the sinful flesh that they are led by. But it will never work. They will never, ever find true peace in their sin. There is only one way to find true peace and contentment, and that is through Jesus Christ. Now I want to show you several stories of Disney absolutely destroying itself recently, and one major bombshell that just hit, actions being taken against Disney because of this woke path to ruin that they're on. Check this out. Disney is on a woke path to ruin. Even Snow White actress hates her own story. How much is Disney willing to sacrifice to the cult of woke? That's exactly what it is. You either accept this new truth we have created, or otherwise you be deleted. That's a cult. Earlier this month, Disney announced it is continuing to lose massive sums of money. $512 million, the most recent quarter, on its streaming service, Disney+. Disney's stock is down 56%. Disney is on a massive decline, faster than literally ever. They just lost $500 million just on their Disney Plus streaming. And, you know, it's funny because they tried to pretend like everything was fine with Disney Plus. No, Disney Plus is doing wonderful. We're not losing $500 million. Everything's going great. We're putting out new content left and right, which is doing actually horrible, come to find out. And Disney is losing more subscribers to Disney Plus than ever. And I'm going to show you what the shareholders just did to Disney because they lost $500 million in just a second. But it says, and their one revenue producing asset, their amusement parks, saw a downturn in attendance this summer. You know, it was reported that this summer was actually lower attendance than the middle of 2020 during all the co-fraud. And hey, if you're sick of Disney's woke agenda, would you mind hitting that thumbs up button? You know, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people and really help spread this message. And check this out. To combat this, Disney has not gone back to basics and focused on the family-friendly entertainment that made it an amusement behemoth. You know, Disney is here today. Disney is one of the most powerful companies in the entire world because of their family-friendly entertainment. I'm not saying all the things that Disney has ever done are good, because that is certainly not the case. But they haven't always done things in a way where they're trying to appease this insane woke left crowd that is on an absolute path to self-destruction and wanting to take Disney down with it. And they are. They're taking Disney down with it. Disney is eating itself, all the while bewildered at what on earth is eating them. Rachel Zegler, who will be starring in the latest live-action remake of the classic Snow White, has been on a promotional tour talking about how much she hates Snow White. They decided that they wanted to take Snow White and absolutely continue on this insane destruction that they are currently on. In fact, there was rumors that Disney's divisive Snow White remake was canceled. Although now industry insiders are coming out and saying, no, it hasn't been canceled, but they might just make it a Disney Plus exclusive, so it won't get released in theaters. Gee, I wonder why. And it was delayed. So Snow White was delayed so that they can figure out what to do. You know, Disney, what they desperately want to do, the higher ups, they're not stupid. I mean, they're stupid in a sense for going along with all this stuff. But they know that this is going to be more trouble than it's worth. But they can't actually cancel the movie. For one, it's already been made. They would get absolutely destroyed by the left. The left would say, no, you're bigots. You're the worst. And they would do physical violence against them. To where, on the other hand, conservatives are like, we're just not going to give you our money until you stop. And then if you start making like decent family-friendly content again that isn't full of indoctrination, we'll even think about giving you our money again. Which I'm not saying everybody's in that crowd. If you don't ever want to support Disney again, then hurrah, that's fantastic. You shouldn't. We don't support Disney and have no plans to. But most conservatives are saying just go back to making content that I don't have to be afraid to put my child in front of. And we'll support you again. To where the left is like, if you don't bow to us, we will destroy you physically. Who do you think they're going to give in to? The violent ones. Now, Disney was actually sued by their shareholders over fraudulent schemes to hide streaming losses. This has all been confirmed that Disney was literally lying to its own shareholders and its own employees. The top brass knew exactly what they were doing. They were lying and saying that everything is fine. We're not losing anything. Everything's going great. When in reality, all the while, they're losing $500 million. And the shareholders are like, wait, that's our money. Disney shareholders accused the media giant's leadership of misleading investors with a fraudulent scheme designed to hide the extent of Disney Plus losses, according to a new lawsuit. The complaint, filed by New Jersey-based Stourbridge Investments on August 23rd in Delaware federal court, claims Disney management under then CEO Bob Chapek tried to conceal the staggering costs it incurred while attempting to boost its subscriber count and promise profitability by the end of 2024. Now, do you really think that's going to happen? Do you genuinely think that 1 year? No. 1 quarter. So one fiscal quarter, not even an entire year. But in 1 quarter where they lose $500 million, that they're just going to be able to turn around and not lose $500 million? And they know that Disney is not going to be able to turn around and make a profit, especially when they're doing stuff like literally tanking their movies before they even come out. They have the actresses of Snow White doing a death tour and trying to destroy the movie, but in particular, this Rachel Zegler. She has done nothing but try to destroy this movie. And she has. It's worked to where Disney is literally putting the movie on pause so that they can figure out how to release this death trap in the least miserable way, which would just be to put it on Disney Plus so no one will actually see it. Take a look at some of the things that Rachel Zegler has said about this movie.
The reality is that the cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
Also, the fact that she's not going to be saved by the prince.
But it's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful. And whether or not she finds love along the way is anybody's guess until 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? I was scared of the original cartoon. I think I watched it once and then I never picked it up again. Like, I'm being so serious. I watched it once and then I went on the ride in Disney World, which was called Snow White's Scary Adventures. Doesn't sound like something a little kid would like. Was terrified of it. Never revisited Snow White again.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess. I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Now, Rachel Zegler hates this movie, Snow White. She hates the story. It's been brought into modern times. It's been brought into the current woke culture to appease, again, a group that will never be appeased. These people are insane, and they know it. And they're doing exactly what Hollywood does. They're destroying themselves. They're eating themselves. Don't fall for Snow White. It's going to be an absolute disaster what they've done to this movie. They have wokeified it to the point of no return, unrecognizable, and it just completely feeds into this modern destroy everything that has any type of sense of relatability. Now, this isn't going to be the first movie to do horribly for Disney. If you remember the movie Elemental, Disney's last, half a dozen movies at least, no, more than that, probably their last dozen movies have lost money. They've done bad. They have not done what they needed to do in the box office, and it cost Disney big time. And I'll show you three of them. For the sake of time, we won't go through all of them, but I'll show you three of those movies. One of them, Elemental. So when you go down to Elemental, you can see their budget. They had $200 million to make the movie, and they made worldwide $478 million. Wow, this movie made a ton of money. Screen Rant says that it needs to make closer to $500 to $600 million due to marketing and all that stuff on top of it, which they don't release the actual number. But when you compare it to how much it was marketed and how much Disney has spent on other movies, this number is closer to the $500 million mark. This movie did not meet what it needed to consider it a success for Disney. And that's incredible, thinking that this movie made almost $500 million and still isn't considered successful for Disney. Next, you have Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, a classic series. This should be one of those names in movies that you could put Indiana Jones whatever and people go in and watch a blank screen for 2 hours and it would make money because it's Indiana Jones. Well, that didn't work this time because Disney is again on an absolute death course to destroy themselves. You can see here that Indiana Jones cost them about almost $300 million to make, estimated. This is actually estimated to be much higher after all is said and done. But for the sake of argument, let's just say $300 million. Their total gross was about $381 million. Oh, so they made money. Hold on. Remember, Disney's budget for marketing was around $200 million estimated. So you have to think this was a movie that cost them about $500 million. Indiana Jones lost Disney easily $100 million plus. And then it doesn't get much worse than this. This is a demonic movie that Disney just put out. I think this is their latest movie that Disney put out. Haunted Mansion. I wouldn't suggest seeing this at all ever because it just looks demonic. But this is just another example of a star-studded movie. Check this out. Owen Wilson, Rosario Dawson, Jamie Lee Curtis, Jared Leto, and then Danny DeVito alone is worth the price of admission. But seriously, this movie has a lot of big stars in it, but that wasn't able to do anything. Check this out. The movie alone cost them $150 million. Now, $150 million plus, let's give Disney the benefit of the doubt. Let's say that they spent $100 million on marketing instead of $200 million on marketing. Actually, let's do one better. Let's say Disney only spent $50 million on marketing. So $150 million to make the movie, $50 million, which is, I don't know, maybe a quarter of what they normally spend. But let's just say, for argument's sake, $50 million. So the total is about $200 million into this movie when all is said and done. Well, this movie grossed about $100 million worldwide. They're still walking away with a $100 million loss. And this article says it wouldn't be unfair to say that Disney is on one of its worst ever runs at the box office, with Haunted Mansion just one of many catastrophic flops to have arrived over the course of the last 2 years. Once the single most bulletproof hit factory in the entire industry, the Mouse House has been forced to sit by and watch as likes of Strange World, Lightyear, Jungle Cruise, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, and the aforementioned reboot, Haunted Mansion, racked up a total loss that was close to $1 billion. Disney has lost almost $1 billion in their last several movies. Add on top of that the $500 million that Disney Plus has lost. Add on top of that their theme parks are just doing absolutely horrible, and Disney doesn't want to admit what is destroying them. This absolute insane, unwinnable, unappeasable wokeness that is going to be the end of them if they don't stop. But hey, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, join this community, I would love to hear from you regularly. And please hit that thumbs up button, you know, when you like this video, to get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread this message. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.